Hey everybody, this is Ron Taylor with Roughcut overview, and we're looking at 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Before we get too far into this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. All right, let's take a look. Remember, we're doing two things here at the beginnings. We are looking at Paul's prayer here in first chapter 8 and 9, 1 Corinthians 1, 8 and 9. God will also keep you firm to the end so that you will be blameless on the day of our Lord Jesus Christ. God is faithful, who has called you into fellowship with his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. So with every correction of this church that had a lot of things to correct, that might be commonly considered the worst church in New Testament history, as per the Bible, he addressed every situation, every question, everything that needed addressing. It was all centered around Jesus Christ and him crucified. Every problem that the church had, it came from them turning away from that revelation, turning away from Jesus Christ and him crucified, turning away from the sacrifice, thinking in their minds that they're somehow separated, or thinking in their minds that they're somehow able to rise above certain things that Jesus did, or they rise above the establishment of church governance, having a super apostle, for example. Everything that they thought, it came out of the fallen mind. And right here is always the key to our success or failure. When we have been made a success, we are whole, complete in him. Every word he said about us is right and true. God knows us better than we know ourselves. And he's said some wonderful things about us. He will never change his mind from us. He will never turn away from us. Jesus Christ is God's mind made up about you and me for all of eternity. But sometimes the problem is right here. This noggin wants to tell us other things. And so we have to take authority over the fallen mind, and we have to take authority over the lies of the enemy, and we have to take authority over everything that would suggest otherwise than what we have in the New Testament about ourselves. Okay, so let's get into this. Chapter 8, the key for chapter 8, God owns the natural world too. Enjoy it safely and love your brother. Verses 1 through 2, true God knowledge is eternal love. Love that doesn't die, eternal agape, eternal. You may say you have knowledge, but if it's not love-driven, it's not true knowledge, is it? It's a form of knowledge. It's a lower level of knowledge. It doesn't necessarily need to be cast out. But temper it with love whenever you utilize it, so that you're not functioning out of pride. Verse 7, defiled. Let's consider the Greek word for a moment. I don't have the Greek word in front of me, but the word defiled means to smear mud on. Just like the word anointed means to smear on, it's a reference to smearing mud on something. But look where he says the weaker brother is defiled. In his mind, he thinks he's defiled. He comes into the thought process of thinking he's defiled. So his mind's not on the finished work anymore. His mind's not on the cross anymore. His mind is now fixated on this perceived state of defilement. And in this definition, the word conscience, conscience with knowledge, conscience and conscious are both parts of this definition. So he's conscious of a perceived failure, and his conscience is telling him he's in failure, and he's fallen, and he's not measuring up anymore when Jesus has already paid the price. So remember the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life, taking part of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil as the master tree instead of the servant tree is disastrous. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the do-it-yourself tree. It tells you that do this, don't do that. The good, bad tree. Jesus didn't come to give us good, bad. He came to give us life, and life more abundantly. Our trust and our position must remain in him. We have to stay cognizant of our position in him and not attempt to rebuild anything or build over again or try to improve somehow on redemption, or start writing rules, whether that be don't do this, don't do that, or even though, maybe you sacrificed to a certain God before you converted to Christianity, and now I'm sitting in the temple of that God, eating meat, knowing that there's only one God, and it's not this pagan God, and I'm thanking the God of all the universe and creation while I'm eating this meat in this idol's temple. But you see it, and then you're offended by it. I'm causing you to stumble. I'm not operating in love. My knowledge is wonderful, but it's not tempered with love. So that's the main heart of the issue he's dealing with there. Our liberty, apart from expression of love, is defiled and destructive. True liberty is fueled by love. It's not fueled by liberty for liberty's sake. Liberty fueled by love will keep us in the position of true liberty and keep us from harming one another as we partake of our liberty. And again, remember Paul said, I have determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And crucifixion and resurrection is always the root. It's the root of our being. It's the root of our experience. It's the root of our existence. And it is how we are to conduct ourselves, keeping the cross in our minds, the forefront of our hearts, and remembering that everybody we come in contact with is somebody Jesus died for. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.